Dan Illman might be our sensational Gulfstream card on Saturday. The Fountain of Youth is the feature race, but this is race number 4 for 3-year-olds, but on the turf. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 3 Palm Beach. We are going a mile and a 16th. It is a full field. It is an evenly matched field. Mike, looks like a good betting race.
Yeah, I thought it was too, Dan. There are a lot of, I think a lot of different horses who can win here, and I guess trips are going to be very important.
Trips are going to be very important in this big and bulky field. You have the number 7 South Bend 4-1 in here, getting blinkers for Stan Huff. Fancy Liquor, nice figure debut winner for Mike Maker, going to step up 5-1 on the morning line. But I think the big name in this race is the 12 Vitology, multiple graded stakes place. They wanted to run this horse in the Breeders' Cup. The vet said no, and Brendan Walsh is still trying to figure out why.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately for Vitology, I guess he didn't draw very well in this race, but he's run well in all of his races so far.
Time for pace projector. Pace also going to be very important in this race. They've got the 1 Tiesto out there expected to make the lead. Tiesto has not shown a lot of pace. I wonder if this pace is going to be kind of crawling the 5-horse Fancy Liquor. I'd expect him to show a little bit of speed.
Yeah, me too. I didn't really see Tiesto on the front in this race, but we'll see what happens.
I think it's worth noting that Fancy Liquor, when he won his race, there were no fractions. That's why we don't see a chicklet for the number 5 Fancy Liquor. Expect Fancy Liquor to be forwardly placed. Let's start with Tiesto, $600,000 son of Tiz Now. Debut winner last year for Bill Mott, beaten Shaw Class timeout in a stakes race. That was a pretty good field he was up against.
Yeah, it was. His wide actually wasn't bad either. It was a good field, and he didn't get a great trip. Now, he didn't get a terrible trip, Dan, but he didn't get a great one. He was in some traffic. He stayed in around the turn. He got caught behind horses at the top of the stretch, and the closers swung into action on the outside. He just couldn't get a run going at that time. He finished kind of evenly after that, but I thought he ran well. His debut was fine. I didn't love his debut, but I thought he ran well. This is one of the horses I'm definitely using in this race. I think he's a huge contender in here.
And he draws a great inside post position and might be able to work out a good pace-tracking, ground-saving trip. The runner-up from that last race came back to win the Central Park Stakes with a 75 buyer, third in the Texas Turf Mile after that with a 77. Let's take a look at B. Catcher's maiden win at Gulfstream on January the 18th. He's in the familiar Calumet Silks. He's working hard right now, but he's the number 8, and he's going to wear these horses down, beating 2 next-out winners.
Yeah, I mean, he ran fine. I thought he got a really good trip overall, and you're going to see he's very game to drive this race down. Very late, he's going to get there to get it done. I thought he ran fine, Dan. Off of that race, I'm not going to bet him back in a race like this one, but he certainly has room to improve.
That race was his first with blinkers. He's going to need some pace help up front. One of those next out winners, the 4th place finisher, came back to score with a 71 buyer, then was second, just missed in an out winner as a one other then with a 76. Street Ready also exits a key race, but he hasn't raced since November the 21st when he was 3rd in an allowance affair at Churchill Downs. We've talked about Ian Wilkes off the layoff in the past. We kind of like to watch his horses get a race or 2 off the bench before they find their optimal fitness. But this horse has shown some promise and perhaps more importantly, some tactical speed.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. I can see this horse being up close in this race too, and maybe getting the right trip. I liked his debut, turf debut win at Churchill Downs. I thought he ran well that day with a really nice trip. Last time, you know, he didn't really have an excuse, Dan. He took over the lead in the stretch. He was briefly clear, no match for the 1-2 finishers late, but he ran fine. It was yielding turf too. He didn't have to love that. I can see plenty of reasons to use this horse somewhere.
6th place finisher from the last race won a 1X at the fairgrounds in his next start with a 77 buyer. Sassy but smart. 2 turns, no problem for this horse. Last time out on February the 13th. Let's watch Sassy but Smart's race. It was against Florida-bred maidens, but he got close to the pace early. He has already taken over the lead. He's going to pull off a 9-1 upset, career best buyer. They're wheeling him back in 16 days, and this is a big step up in class.
Yeah, we'll see how he handles that, and some better horses, too. He got a great trip in this race, tracking a 40-1 shot. He took over without a fight. He was clear to the wire. I'm not going to knock the race that he ran there, but he's going to have to do better, I think, against this field.
Potential pace setter is the 5, Fancy Liquor. Debut winner going a mile for Michael Maker. Let's watch that race right now. He showed really good speed from the start. He is turning for home in front, and he is going to dig. He's facing a stern challenge in mid-stretch. And listen, you wouldn't fault this horse if he finished a good second, but he just refuses to lose.
Yeah, he's very game in this race after making the lead and cutting the pace the whole way. Their 1-2 finishers are both first-time starters. When you watch the head-on, you'll see that Fancy Liquor came out a couple times and bumped the horse that finished second. The stewards looked at it. They didn't make a change. They probably could have. But either way, this horse ran pretty well first time out.
6-all Gorilla is a maiden winner. They tried starter stakes competition last time out. He pressed a pretty fast pace. He tired, but still, he was 35-1 against those starter foes. These are tougher. Maybe he's the one that tried to go to the front and provide a nice target for someone.
I can see him definitely being part of the pace in this race, Dan. I just don't know if he's good enough to take advantage of it.
South Bend is a stakes winner on the main track. He beat Silver Prospector, who's one of the leading horses on the road to the Kentucky Derby right now at Oaklawn Park. But it appears that turf is where he's going to ultimately wind up. His most recent race was his turf debut. It was the Dania Beach, and I thought all in all he had a good trip, Mike. He tracked the pace. He's in the two-path right now. He's the number 2, and he's going to finish okay, evenly in between horses, beating a neck, just couldn't get to the winner. Maybe the blinkers will sort of put him over the top.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he got a great trip in this race. He's been tracking the 10 the entire way, can't get to that horse, and here comes the winner splitting them now to get up and beat them both. Listen, I thought he ran fine. He runs that race back, and here with that kind of a trip, I guess he's a contender, but I'm looking elsewhere for the winner of this race.
Perhaps not as much upside as some of the others in this race, but he has faced some strong competition. Horses like Chancet and Sole Volante and Silver Prospector and 'Tis the Law, and it appears he can at least equal those performances on turf. Life on Top really liked turf. First time as a 3-year-old for Jimmy Jerkins. Let's watch that race right now. Dismissed at 45-1 for his turf debut, getting Lasix for the first time. Life on Top, I thought, got a really friendly pace scenario, Mike, and he's going to come running at the end of this race to just get up by a neck under Rajiv.
Yeah, he's between horses right now, but he's surging at the end of the race. Very game to get there. Overall, the trip really worked out for him. But he did what he had to do at the end at a big price. It's interesting that he's been sort of overlooked in both of his races, Dan. He's got some pedigree. His dam, an unraced sister, a hard spun. There's pedigree with this horse, too. He could take a step forward in this race.
Nice effort last time out with the 77 buyer. Bounced right out of that race with 2 bullet workouts leading up to his stakes debut. Turn of events was only beaten a neck in the replay we just saw. He was a little bit closer to that fast-paced. He finished okay. They ran him on dirt last time out in a race that was washed off the turf. I'm going to forgive that effort. That race 2 starts back was okay, and he's got Michael Maker in his corner, but he's still a maiden.
Yeah, he's still a maiden, which you don't love. Overall, and I think it's pretty tough to choose between he and Life on Top, but I thought maybe this is the horse you might have wanted out of that race we just watched, because as you say, closer to that pace. He made the first run to challenge for it in there, and he was dead game through the stretch to just get beat.
Famished is up next, getting blinkers for the first time for trainer John Kimmel. This is an expensive son of Uncle Mo. He finished behind South Bend in the Dania Beach, Mike, but that was his first start of the year. There didn't seem to be a ton of pace on in the Dania Beach, and I wonder if that worked against this horse.
It might have been enough of an excuse, Dan, and he also came wide to the stretch in there, and he just couldn't find enough. I thought he ran fine. I feel like, I know I definitely liked him. I think we both might have liked this horse in the Pilgrim first time on turf. I thought he ran fine that day, too. I think he's got a chance in this race.
Fenwick Station has done little wrong from 3 starts for trainer Eddie Keneally, winning 2 of them. Last time out at Churchill Downs, beating a field that included a next out winner in an off-the-turf race at Keeneland. That horse earning a 78 buyer speed figure. I liked his race at Kentucky Downs, the one race he lost where he finished second in that juvenile stakes. He's been given plenty of time for Eddie Keneally, who does do good work off the layoff.
I liked that Kentucky Downs race, too. And then that last one, I just thought he was really game to win it. I mean, ultimately, his trip worked out, but he was stuck down on the inside all the way around to the top of the stretch. He couldn't get out. Things did open up for him. And I just like the way that he finished to win that race. And I think he's got a lot of upside.
Vitology 9-2 on the morning line. Don't be surprised if this horse ends up the favorite. Grade 1 stakes placed in the summer, 2 starts back. He had some traffic issues in that race. Last time out in the Bourbon, he was beaten at the post position draw. He drew post position 14, Mike. He was forced to be taken back pretty much to last at the start of this race. He made a big wide move, and he's just going to keep grinding and grinding and grinding in the red silks. He makes this close.
He really does. I mean, he carried this run a very long way, and he almost gets there. Listen, again, he's run well in all of his races. I guess we're sort of with him in a similar situation, right, where he's got the outside post. He doesn't have a lot of speed, so it feels like they're going to take him back to last. and he's just going to have to be a lot better than these horses to win. And you know what? Maybe he is.
He finished ahead of Gear Jockey in that Bourbon. Gear Jockey came back to run third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf with a 76 Beyer speed figure. Let's take a look at our top picks for the Palm Beach Stakes. Mike, I'm going with South Bend, the 7. I know you're not a fan of this horse. Blinkers on. I'd like them to be really aggressive out of the gate and get to the top.
I can see it happening. I don't love him in this race, but I'm not, I don't think he's impossible in here. I just thought that there were maybe some better priced alternatives. I'm going to try Fenwick Station. I like all 3 of his starts. Hoping he's ready off the layoff.
That's how wide open this race is. 8 different selections from us, completely different. Top 4. It's the Grade 3 Palm Beach Stakes. It's race 4 at Gulfstream on Fountain of Youth Saturday, and has an approximate post of 12:57 Eastern. Best of luck.